Hello friends, in this video we are going to talk about a much discussed topic, that is the non-performing assets. We will understand the concept of non-performing assets in a very simple manner, and I would also like to make this video as informative as possible. So what is non-performing assets? Remember, this is a major problem that these days banks as well as other financial institutions face. Let us understand what it is. Now when the bank, if you see the balance sheet of a bank, there are two sides of a balance sheet. One is the liability and the other is the assets. Remember, the main business of the bank is to take deposits from the people and lend it as advances. This is the business of the bank, and in course of this it makes income by way of interest. It earns interest income. Now when you see the asset side of a bank's balance sheet, you will find a major item called advances. Okay, so these are the amount of loans that the bank has given. It might have given to individuals, companies, so on and so forth. So if you compare the balance sheet of a bank from period 1 to period 2 and period 2 to period 3, and if you experience that the volume of advances has increased, you would be happy because it shows the growth in the assets. But there may be some hidden problems underlying. What can be the hidden problem? The hidden problem may be that most of the advances, or maybe some of the advances which the banks have lended, creates problem in terms of its recovery. The money is not coming back to the bank by way of principal as well as interest amount. So it poses problem for the bank. These type of assets or these type of advances which poses problem for the bank in terms of its recovery is termed as non-performing assets. So an asset which is not serviced or which do not bring back the interest or the principal in time, we call them non-performing assets. Now, which are those advances to be called as non-performing assets? As per the current guidelines of Reserve Bank of India, any asset which has been defaulted for more than 90 days will be considered to be non-performing assets. Okay, so if any loan is due today, the bank will wait for another 90 days, meaning 3 months, and within 3 months, if the amount do not come back, then we call it non-performing assets. So remember, 90 days norms is the basic criteria for classifying an asset as non-performing asset. Okay. Earlier it was 180 days, but after 2005 this has been reduced down to 90 days. Right? Now NPAs are of three types. We have substandard category, we call it substandard assets. Then we have the doubtful assets, and we have the last class known as the loss assets. Now how do we classify the advances as substandard, doubtful or loss? Keep in mind the 90 days is the norm to call an asset to be a non-performing asset. So the first category that an account will move on as a non-performing asset is the substandard category. Okay, if I have defaulted for more than 90 days, my account will be classified as substandard assets. Remember, substandard assets falls under the category of non-performing assets. My account will be classified as substandard asset because I exceeded 90 days. Even after 90 days, expiry of 90 days, even if I don't pay for 1 year, means 12 months, then my loan will move on to the next category known as the doubtful assets. Okay, so an asset will be considered to be a doubtful asset if it has remained in the substandard category for 12 months or more. So we have to shift that account to doubtful category. Now the question is, from doubtful, when will I classify the asset as a loss assets? The amount will be classified, or the account will be classified as a loss assets when the bank believes that nothing is going to be realized. There is no time frame set so far, but it is as per the judgment of the bank. When the bank feels that it had been a long time, the amount had not come back, so that asset will be classified as a loss asset. Okay, so this was not a practice for the banks earlier, but after some reformatory measures and as per the recommendations made by various committees, it was felt necessary that the quality of advances are to be reported by the bank. The banks are mandatorily required to disclose the quality of their assets in terms of non-performing and performing, and within non-performing the different classes that it has amount invested in, like the substandard, the doubtful and the loss. So I hope you understood what is the concept of non-performing assets and how do we classify the non-performing assets into the different categories given the time frame. So that is all for today. Now if you are more interested to know about the provisioning norms and other details about NPAs, please follow my subsequent videos. Thank you.